Bartenders Weekend is coming up. It happens every year in March in San Diego, California. So it's crunch time right now for us. We're just getting excited to welcome all the guests to our city. So this is, technically it started 10 years ago. This is actually number 8 though, because of COVID. We missed a couple years. But technically our 10-year anniversary from the inception of the event. Essentially, it started as a pool party 10 years ago. A gentleman named Eric Castro, a well-known bartender and good friend and business partner of mine, he and some local bartenders conceptualized this event of just kind of hanging out by the pool, relaxing, getting the service industry together, hospitality workers, and just enjoying life and celebrating each other and getting to know one another. I, at the time, was living in New York, working for a major supplier. And I was essentially the first sponsor of the event. And so I enjoyed it so much that I'm like, as we're sitting around talking about it and going, we should do it again next year, I'm like, absolutely. I said, how do I get involved? Like, how do I get involved more on like the planning side? Like, how can I help? Fast forward 10 years and now I run it. It's one of a few businesses that I run. And we're expecting over 1,500 bartenders this year. So it's definitely grown. Yeah, we definitely see a concentration. So the bartenders for our Bartenders Weekend come from all over the U.S. We even get some international guests now, which is amazing because we love that, embracing, you know, our friends from faraway places. But we definitely see a high concentration of kind of like the west coast of the U.S. or the western states. Definitely a lot of California, a lot of Arizona, Nevada. But then we definitely see pockets of Chicago, New York, and every year, which I think is amazing, my favorite part is that there's a few like smaller cities that kind of just all band together and say, we're coming. And so one year we had like 30 bartenders from Honolulu come. Last year I remember there was just a ton of bartenders from Alabama that came out. They all kind of decided together. Like we've had bars closed down. We've received emails, you know, in the past, and it's a few every year. It's somebody going, hey, we're shutting down our bar for the 3 days because I want to bring my entire staff. And this is the thing, right? And I think it's a good investment because what we don't do, and I think this is probably another question or topic we could get into, is that there is a bit of a misconception about Bartenders Weekend, and there's people around that say, oh, they don't allow education, and then that's actually not true. We're a networking event for sure. Like for sure, that's what we hang our hats on, is bringing our industry closer together. But we embrace education. We just don't allow seminars. So our challenge to our sponsors and to the brands that want to participate is, absolutely, what's your message? What do you want to educate bartenders on? But do it in a way that's more experience-driven, like that they can touch, they can feel, they can work together as a team, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to forge a relationship. We don't do tastings, not in the conventional sense, right? We don't do tastings like you're not in a classroom, you're not like set with 50 glasses and going through spirits and nosing them, and it's more of like you'll experience that brand at that event, at the particular place, that day, place, and time, right? And because all your senses work together. We're actually doing brands a favor, I think, by allowing them to do more, right? To bring people into their world, to immerse them, right? And so I think for us, it's like we want to educate people. Again, primary focus, bringing people together. Because I would much rather you sit across from a brand's master distiller at a dinner, right? Sit across the table and get to know that person, have a meaningful connection, than be one of 100 people in a room listening to them speak about how they distill their whiskey. I just think there's more to life, and that's just more value in that. Yeah, and I think brands in our industry they don't always know how to market to bartenders and to the trade very well. They have this cookie cutter model of like how they do things for consumers, and they try to apply that to bartenders, and it's not the same. It doesn't work. Like the whole mantra of like, oh, liquid to lips, that's how we're gonna get our brand out there. And it's like, well, you can do a big event for 500 people and they're not gonna remember it, right? You do a small intimate event for 30 people and like give them an experience, like you're gonna change their lives a little bit, right? You're gonna become part of their lives at the very least. So that's kind of what drives us. Yeah, I like to think, 10 years in that we've got the schedule down to like a science, but It does evolve every year a little bit still, and I'm glad that we can adapt and we're nimble enough to do that. But essentially what happens is we pick a hotel, right? And the hotel that we choose, we've always done it at the Lafayette Hotel, which is an amazing place in San Diego. However, it got bought recently. It's under a gut renovation, so we had to scramble. So we're doing it at a new hotel, still in San Diego this year, the Andaz, and we basically set up like a central hub. So that hotel as a central hub is the welcoming point. It's where you register. There's some brand activations and events going on there. And then we expand out, right? So every day there's daily excursions. That's where our brand will take you away to whatever it is that they want to engage with you upon. Like if, for example, let's say you're chartreuse and you want to take bartenders foraging in, Balboa Park because you want to tie in that brand messaging. But you also want to give them that experience, right? You're in San Diego, you get to go and tour the grounds of a botanical garden, and it's kind of fun and warm and endearing. So those are the excursions. Goes into a happy hour period where we have brands that are activating around various bars in San Diego, bars or restaurants, and then we move into pop-up events, which is like welcoming other outside of town bars to pop up at bars within our city to get those bars to work together a little bit in unison. And then there's a main event every night, there's after parties, there's other various networking events. So there's a lot to do, and it happens, like I said, there is a focal kind of hub, but then from there it's like all around the city. And that's a good point, actually. One of the reasons that we started Bartenders Weekend and that we've invested so much of like time into it and developing it was to bring people to San Diego to see what we're doing here, because I think it's one of the more underrated food and drink cities in America, for sure, if not the world. And so by giving ourselves a platform to project to the rest of the country, because when you look at the various award shows and things like that, the 50 Best and Tales of the Cocktail, it's very hard to be in one of those like tertiary markets and do anything and make any noise. All the time it's like New York bars get awarded, and they deserve it. I lived in New York for almost 10 years, and there's some great food and drink in New York. Same with LA, San Francisco. But what about some of the smaller markets? And I think that by doing this, and other people should take the same initiative, right? Put your city on a platform if that's what you want to do, if you're trying to raise awareness. Because it's also not just about people like me or people like Eric. It's not about us. It's about everyone that's involved in this community. We're working very hard to do really cool things here. And yeah, I could go on about that for days, I think. But that was kind of like one of the driving factors in starting this event, was like, how do we get more people to San Diego to see what we're doing here? Because we think we can compete. We actually like to keep the agenda under wraps until a little bit closer to the event, right? Like, I want people to come because they're investing in themselves to be at this event, to be present, to network with everyone who's coming, and not necessarily come because they saw that one cool event. Now, that would probably help. It's counterintuitive, I know. It's like we could put all the major events and post them early and like try and get people excited about it. But I'm trying to attract the right people, and I'm trying to attract people that want to be here for the right reasons. And so it's like, I don't necessarily want people that come just for that one big event. I want you to come to experience everything, be a part of the whole journey for the 3 days. And so what I can share, in addition to what I told you about how like the schedule works, is that to stay true to our roots, we have one main pool party. We'll call it a pool party. It's more of this year of a rooftop kind of event that has a pool in proximity. Long story short, it's going to be great. And each day we have a major sponsor that we allow to take over that entire area. And so this year we're excited because Campari is taking over day one. I think people will be excited about that. Day two is a tequila that's near and dear to my heart. Is a Teremana tequila. They are taking over day two, and that's only available in the U.S. right now. Sorry, U.S. and Canada. We'll make our way out there soon. And then on day three is Milagro tequila. So, those are like kind of the three main sponsors. I will also share that our presenting sponsor again this year is Jägermeister. They've come in and they want to kind of just be the brand that welcomes everybody to San Diego. They have a major event planned for the first night of Bartenders Weekend, and so we're excited to have them. And then from there, there's roughly 60 events, a little bit over 60 events. So, and those are all sponsored by different brands, and they're brands of all sizes, because we want to attract a good mix of brands. We want the big brands there. We want smaller brands. Our rule is it doesn't matter the size of your brand. It's like, we'll work with you to figure out a plan on how to activate and how to be successful at this event, and take it from there. It's funny because we've seen so many just external, and this is what I like about it. It gets people to think a little bit more, right? So, and it's great when a brand understands who they are and can easily tie into that. For example, there's a gin called Gray Whale Gin. And so what did they decide to do last year? Well, it's whale watching season during the spring in San Diego, so they actually chartered a boat and they took bartenders whale watching on behalf of Gray Whale Gin. I thought that was an amazing tie-in. One year we had a tequila brand that actually did a walking tour of downtown San Diego street art, and they actually hired a muralist to lead the tour and guide the tour, and then they ended up at a space where the muralist then did a live painting in front of the group while they enjoyed cocktails and some, you know, small bites and things like that. So it's really just about like, how do you personify your brand a little bit, and how do you get people engaged with it in a way that's, you know, not just textbook, you know. And so I think that's our challenge, and I think that's what's made us successful, is that we do things a little bit differently. Because truth be told, if we wanted to do seminars, we would just do them, right? But I don't want the same seminar that's happening at, say, Tales of the Cocktail or Bar Convent, Brooklyn or Berlin. Like, I want new and exciting and different. I want that to be a reason to come to our event in San Diego. Again, just really bringing people together, just networking. I don't care if you're a bar back or a server or, you know, a bartender, bar manager, a sales rep, a brand marketer. Like, get everybody together in one room and, like, let's move this industry forward. Let's forge those relationships that are going to help progress us as an industry for generations. And so that's where we are. If you've never been to Bartenders Weekend or an event like it, if you're new in the industry, just remember who you are. Remember who you're representing. Like, remember that you are your own brand while you're there. With that in mind, you need to put that foot forward, right? You need to present yourself in the light that you want to be remembered. And so I encourage people to, you know, monitor their consumption, right? Know where you are at all times and who you're with. And just be aware of your surroundings. And just be responsible. And because like I said, we are our own brands. We are as big as an industry as we are, it's a very small network. And so people talk, people see things, people read things. Like, just present yourself in the light that you want to be remembered. And I think that's the advice that I would give somebody. And then don't hold back either, though. Like, if there's somebody you want to meet, just go say hello. Go introduce yourself. There's no harm that's going to come out of that. I mean, if someone doesn't have time for you, sure enough, they'll let you know. But what harm is there in talking to somebody? Maybe it's somebody who owns a bar that you've dreamt about working at, or maybe it's a distiller for one of your favorite brands. Like, you're not always going to have these opportunities, so I think you just need to seize the day. And so I would give that as advice to anyone who's never been to Bartenders Weekend. Just seize the day, and just, you know, be your best self. And we're all here together. Like, that's the beauty of our network. We're here to lift each other up, support each other, and I think that you see a lot of that coming from an event like Bartenders Weekend as well. I'm in awe sometimes of how far this event has come, because we're not here to be the biggest event, right? I want the right people there, and not just a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, and I want to make sure that what we're doing is meaningful and is valuable, because I'm going to tell you right now, it is a lot of work. And if you're in the business to make money, do not start a cocktail week or a festival or anything like that. You know, it's the same as like, don't open a bar, right? You know, you want to start making money, you need to have 10 bars. Now, so it's just one of those things where, you know, I'm just so happy of the work that we've put in and what we've accomplished in the time that we've done it. But I want people to come to San Diego regardless. I have a bar called Raised by Wolves. I think it's one of the best bars in the world. I want people to see that. Like, come out, be a part of the events, but also, like, carve out some time for yourself. You know, carve out some time to do some sightseeing in San Diego that is non-industry related if you want. Like, clear your head, be aware, just take care of yourself and your mental health. Dip in and out of the event as you see fit, and do like the things that you want to do. And, you know, but like, again, we're here because it's about the community. It's about bringing people together. It's about networking. And so, like, you get out of it what you put into it. And so I think, I'm kind of answering the last question you just asked me again in a different way, but the more I've sat here and thought about it, it's like there's so many reasons to come to Bartenders Weekend and to make it what you want. And that's what I love about it most, is that it's kind of a different event for everybody who attends. It's different because you might start out with an agenda of your own, and then you meet a group of bartenders from Arkansas, and you decide to hang out with them for the afternoon or the evening, and like it just changes your plan. It opens your network, it expands your horizons. The next day, because of the relationship you met the night before, you might actually now be on an adventure somewhere else that you had no idea you were going to go, and that could lead to something, And so I think it's like a choose your own adventure event. You get out of what you put into it, and you should come. That's it. We want people here. We want to celebrate our industry. We want to celebrate our city. And first and foremost, just the people who work the hardest in it. Now, that's a great question. Our whole intention is to keep the cost low, because we're definitely not trying to make money off bartenders or our industry, right? And so what we've done is we set up a model where you buy a ticket. The ticket this year is only $30, $30 US. That's all you pay for access to 60 plus events. 100% of that money goes to our charity partner. So $0 from a ticket sale comes to anyone that works for Bartenders Weekend. It goes to, and this year's charity partner is a company or a group called Another Round, Another Rally. It's a nonprofit based out of Los Angeles, California. They do great work in our industry. So we try and pick industry relevant charities to partner with, and that's what we do. Because, and I say too much, but I think rather than make it free, like, I do want there to be an investment. I don't think anything is free in life. I want you to sign up. I want you to allocate your dollars to something that's good, a charity in this case, and I want you to commit to that, right? If we just threw out a sign-up sheet and said, just whoever wants to come sign up, and we did that, in the early days, but what happened was everybody would sign up. But how many people are actually coming, and that number would drop. And so in order to be better planners, prepare a better event for the attendees, we want to know who's coming. We want to know, and this is a good way to do that. And like I said, so you're supporting a good cause, you're investing in your career, in your network, and you're gonna have a great time for doing that.